See, yeah. Oops. Yeah, I'll save it. Hi everyone, my name is Dimitri, and welcome back to DimitriTube. Welcome back to another installment of Cooking While Quarantined, Thanksgiving edition. Gobble gobble. In my previous Cooking While Quarantined videos, I made simple and easy dishes for you guys, but now I'm changing it up a bit. Over the next month and a half, I'm gonna be making traditional Thanksgiving recipes. All of this leading up to the big turkey day. Now, I haven't exactly decided how many Thanksgiving recipes I will be making for you guys, but stick with me, it will be fun. Now, for today's video, all of you are in for a treat because I will be making a sweet potato pie. So I am Black, and I'm pretty sure sweet potato pie is a Black Thanksgiving thing. So growing up, we always had sweet potato pie. I honestly didn't have pumpkin pie until later in life. I think I tried it maybe like high school or college. Also, my family always bought sweet potato pie. They never made it. So it's been something I've wanted to try making for a while now. Also, one year, one of my aunts brought homemade sweet potato pies and they were not good. It was definitely kind of awkward when nobody was eating the pies and they were just sitting there. Now, if you're enjoying these videos, please make sure to pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. Also, last two things before I get started. I am honestly not much of a baker. I'm good at cooking, but baking has been a little more difficult for me. But I feel like all of my followers believe in me and we'll learn this together. Also, in all of my previous cooking videos, I had made the recipe previously, but for this cooking video, this is the very first time I've made this dish, so we'll just see how it goes. Now, before y'all drag me and say this pie is not homemade, so in this video, I will be making the filling. The crust is store-bought, and technically, it's still homemade. I have to heat up the crust at home, so technically, I made it. Okay, now let's dive in and get started. Now, these are the items and ingredients you will need to make sweet potato pie. Cinnamon, vanilla extract, evaporated milk, 1 pound of sweet potatoes, 1 stick of butter. Also, the recipe called for salted butter. I'm just gonna use the butter we have in the fridge. I really didn't wanna buy any more. Nutmeg, ginger, granulated sugar, 2 eggs. This recipe calls for 2 medium eggs, but all we have are large eggs. I think it'll be fine. A dry measuring cup, measuring spoons, a pot, a strainer, a whisk. Look at this rainbow pride flag whisk. A peeler, a long spoon, a mixing bowl. Now let's get started. Now the first thing you're gonna do is preheat the oven to 325. There we go. Then you're gonna fill the pot with some water to boil the potatoes. Now, you don't want to fill the pot to the top because you do got to put potatoes in it. And I am going to add just a tiny bit of oil and like a dash of salt. And then you're going to set the temperature to high for a boil. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is chop up and peel these potatoes. So I'm just going to cut the ends off. And throw them to the side. And then I'm gonna use my peeler. If you guys do not have a peeler, definitely get one. They're fantastic. I do not like peeling potatoes, and this definitely like makes the process a lot simpler. Now next, we're gonna cut up the potatoes. It really doesn't matter which way you cut it, because honestly, we're gonna boil it and it's gonna get mashed up anyway. So but this is the way I'm gonna cut it. Let me make sure I'm still in the camera. Yeah, we're good. Okay, now I'm gonna add the potatoes to the boiling water. I'm not gonna be able to film this because I just do not have enough camera equipment for that. Also, when you're making this dish, please be careful when adding the potatoes to the boiling water. I could have put the potatoes in the cold water and then let it boil, but I just didn't do it that way. So if you're doing it my way and boiling the water first, just be careful when adding the potatoes. Now, the potatoes are probably gonna take like 10 minutes to cook. You just wanna cook them until they're soft. So you wanna keep checking on them because when you boil potatoes, it cooks very quickly. Next, we're gonna drain the potatoes and then let them cool. Oops. Okay, so I just stuck that in the fridge real quick. I'm gonna let it cool. You could let it cool naturally, but I'm kind of in a hurry. So I stuck it in the fridge. While the potatoes are cooling, we're gonna go ahead and get started on the pie crust. So I have my pie crust right here, and I'm gonna put it in the oven at 325 for about 10 minutes. Actually, we'll let it cook for 8 minutes and then we'll go ahead and check on it. Okay, so the timer for the crust just went off and it rose on like the left side. So I'm gonna give it like 2 more minutes and then I'm just gonna pull it out and hope for the best. But on a brighter note, the crust smells really good. It smells like an Eggo waffle. Fantastic news. As soon as I pulled the crust out of the oven, it immediately came down. Now I'm gonna raise the temperature to 350. Okay, now I'm gonna add the potatoes to the bowl and we're gonna start mixing it without adding the extra ingredients. Okay, next we're gonna go ahead and add the cinnamon. Next, we're gonna sprinkle in a half teaspoon of nutmeg. Grab my fork again. Y'all, I am heavy-handed, so the fork is probably a better method than me just dumping it in. And we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. Honestly, I do not know. Definitely later, I'm gonna Google how to properly sprinkle something, because this fork method is probably not the best way. 1 cup of granulated sugar, which I'm gonna stir this a little bit. This looks like a lot of sugar. It said 1 cup. Now we're gonna add 2 eggs. A 1/2 cup of the evaporated milk. And we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And the recipe also calls for 8 tablespoons of softened butter, which this butter, I just left it on the counter so it could get warm, and 8 tablespoons is just 1 stick of butter. I don't know why the recipe said 8 tablespoons, like that's kind of weird, but whatever. Now we're gonna whisk this until it's nice, creamy, and airy. I'm just gonna stir it a little bit first, and then I'll start whisking it. I wonder if it's gonna get like lighter in color. I feel like when I have sweet potato pie, it's more of like an orangey color. I feel like, whatchamacallit, pumpkin pie is like more of like a burnt, like a darker orange. Oh no, what was, oh, I broke the whisk. Oh my God. So much for the Pride whisk. We have a metal whisk. I'm just gonna go ahead and switch to this one. Okay, so I think this is good. I don't want to whisk it too much because it says whisk it until the mixture is nice, creamy, and airy. I mean, it feels creamy and airy, I guess. Okay, so I think that's enough whisking. I'm gonna go ahead and add the filling to the pie crust. And as you're adding the filling, it says to even it out, or to smooth it out. Now we're gonna bake the pie at 350 for 45 to 50 minutes. This pie smells so good. It takes like an hour to bake, but as it's baking, like the smell of nutmeg kind of like runs through the house. Honestly, it's like very comforting. The pie has been baking for about 45 minutes now, and it's just about done. See, right now the crust is brown, but I'm just gonna let it go probably like the extra 5 minutes. I couldn't film myself pulling the pie out of the oven because I definitely needed both hands for that, but I pulled the pie out of the oven and now we just gotta wait for it to cool. Now the pie is done and we can go eat. I'm gonna cut a slice of this pie real quick and then we're gonna sit down and eat. I kind of don't want to cut it because it's so pretty, but I gotta try it. Okay, the texture is good. And the crust is flaky. Definitely gonna do a healthy slice. Ooh. It's a little crumbly. See, yeah. Ah, oops. Yeah, I'll save it, I'll save it. We definitely have the right texture here, and I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of what the inside looks like. I really hope this pie is good. I worked really hard on it, and again, y'all, I'm really not much of a baker. But life is about trying new things, so let's see. So the texture is right. The texture is like perfect sweet potato pie texture, so let's see how it tastes. Mmm. Mmm. It turned out good. I will say I should have like stirred it more. Either stirred it more or gotten the potatoes a little more soft. But still really good. I love pie. I was worried that there was too much sugar in this recipe, but it's like, it's good. And this crust I made is really good. This turned out really well. Now that is all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Cooking While Quarantine Thanksgiving Edition. Gobble gobble. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. And I will see you next time for the next Thanksgiving recipe. Have a good one.